All right, welcome back to the Martin Take. We are on episode 6, and today we're talking about Carolina Liar. As always, very excited about them. I didn't know this when I started out listening to them, but they are actually an American and a Swedish alternative rock band. Thought that was a really fun fact. The band consists of Chad Wolf, who is from South Carolina, and then along with the rest of the band, who's actually from Stockholm, Sweden. So I'm not gonna, like we did of Monsters and Men last week. I'm not gonna read their last names because I have no idea how to say them. But they got Richard at least guitarist, Johan on drums, Eric on bass, and Peter on drums. Carolina Liar was formed in 2006, and they also have two main albums. Not a whole lot to listen to, but they do have 2 great albums of Coming to Terms in 2008, and then also their second album, which is Wild Blessed Freedom in 2011. They also have several singles. Some of those that headline them are Me and You that came out in 2012, and then also Wrestling Angel in 2015. So yeah, it's a great band. I'm very excited for them. Definitely been listening to them for quite some time. Always had their music. So I know, Brendan, you've been listening to them probably as long as I have. Do you kind of have any overall thoughts with them? Kind of your general take on them?
Yeah. And another one of these bands that I found years ago. By a single though, like there was one song that I'd heard and got me interested in the band, and then I probably heard
which single.
I'll be talking about it later, so I can't reveal that.
Nice. Nice. Okay.
But so I heard this single, and then I don't even know if I necessarily looked up the band right away, but I thought the single was really good, and then later ended up looking up them, and two pretty solid albums.
2 great albums.
Yeah,
in my
and
opinion,
a bit of a different
sure.
difference in tone between them. But this is interesting, actually. I was when I was reading up on them, I realized that he is actually potentially making more music again.
Really?
Maybe not right away.
With Carolina Liar or someone else, or by himself?
No, as Carolina Liar. I'm not sure what social media stuff he's in, but some person online that has a fairly big following who did a thing with him because he really liked a song of his, and he gave him like a Volkswagen Beetle and stuff, like his dream, or not a Beetle,
really?
but the Volkswagen bus, like his dream car.
Like the older one.
Yeah. And so he then with that guy recorded an acoustic version of that song, which is that same single that I'm going to reveal later. But anyway, in this article and stuff I was reading about it, he was talking about that he's potentially making more music in the future, and so I'm not. That could be 2 or 3 years, but I'm not sure.
Right. I mean, he's waited 11 years since he put out last music, so who knows how long it's going to be for sure.
Yeah, but he still is doing
he's
still doing venues and stuff like that occasionally, or for fundraising.
Really?
Yeah, just usually small stuff. He actually yeah, that was a while ago. He was opening for a few different artists, but I think that was quite a few years ago.
Nice. No, that's great. Well, that's great. No, like I said, I've definitely been a fan of them for a while. I'm glad you had your time with them too. So why don't we kick it to our top 5 each top songs here. I think I went first last time, so I'll go ahead and kick it over to you for your number 5 song there. So without further ado, Brendan, go ahead and give me your number 5.
All right, so for me, my first one is Salvation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so from their first album, I think their first album has a bit of a different sound to it, or between the 2 albums there's a bit of a different sound. I think I prefer their Coming to Terms album a little bit more, but this song I thought stuck out from the first album. There's not a ton musically.
This song is from the second album, 2000. It's from Wild Blessed Freedom, 2011.
Wait, do I have their albums backwards?
Yeah, I think you do. Because this song came out in 2011 with their Wild Blessed Freedom.
Is that their second
album? The other
album?
one is, the second album. Coming to Terms is their first album.
Okay, then I just had my years backwards on them. Okay, well then I like their first album better. But anyway, so Salvation from their second album. So there isn't a ton musically going on with this that I think really stands out. It's more of a simple sounding song. It's like an easy start with
for sure
piano and drums and that sort of thing, with electric guitar coming in the background. But I think the chorus is what makes this song stand out. The way the percussion comes in and the drums kick up, it adds a lot of energy in the song. I had read that Chad said about this song that he was inspired by like the whole band's experience of like missing home and family. So like I think this song seems to be focused on like past relationships and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
And it could be interpreted a few different ways with like I don't think it's necessarily telling one cohesive story, but just like kind of reminiscing on different stuff in the past.
It seems like a lot of their songs, not just this song, are talking about stuff in the past. I know it's funny you said that because I have a couple of the songs on my list that I would say kind of fall underneath the same lines as that. So they kind of have like a running theme a little bit with that.
Yeah, and I think like with their band, I think it would kind of make sense because he's from South Carolina. He lived in LA for a while and was trying to do like the LA scene, and then went out to Stockholm, Sweden. That's like where the band formed and stuff. But I think like especially for him, and I'm sure for the whole band, that's very much a runner with his life and such.
Yeah, it is. I forgot I mentioned this beginning. It is kind of fun. I just got back from Stockholm, Sweden, a week ago this past Tuesday. So it was 9 days ago I was there. So it's just kind of fun. I didn't even know that his background vocals or his background team is even from Stockholm until I was, researching this. So it's kind of funny to just be in Stockholm, Sweden, and to come back to do a band about them. So I think that's pretty fun.
Right.
But that's interesting. So your number 5 at Salvation. I didn't even actually have that on my liked list. It's a good song. I just didn't have that. So did you have anything else more to say before we kick over to my number 5?
Yeah, just one more thing. So again, on the lyrics, I think like with the feelings of missing home and stuff like that, I think like the line "Salvation lies within you" has kind of always been an interesting line to me hearing that song. But like listening closer to it and stuff, like it seems very much like telling that. If he could just get back to, if we could just get back to like where we started from, or to the relationships, or like reminiscing about the past, if we just get back there, like that's where we could find ourselves. And I think that's kind of what's going on with the song. But I think it's really impactful, like when you hear those words, because it's not something you often hear in a song said quite like that. But
yeah. Nice. No, that's a good song. It's like I said, it's a good song. Yeah, it's just a great song. I think it's kind of a lot of their songs are good songs. But definitely didn't have that. So cool. We'll kick it over to my number 5. All That Shit Is Gone. From the album's Coming to Terms.
Good one.
Really like this song. It's a great. The beginning of the song is really great for me. The piano coming up with the consistent guitar string in the background. I think where I like the song the most is where the pickup. It's rated 1 minute and 7 seconds with the words of always trying to please everyone that I met and end up losing it all. To me, this song really talks about what, like, just giving your all to people and this getting screwed in the end, and just being fed up with people. I think my favorite part of the song is it's between the 2 minute 38 seconds and 2 minutes and 44 seconds. The song kind of builds up through it, and then right at about 2 minutes 40 seconds, all the instruments cut off, and then Chad Wolf says the line like "all that shit is gone," and then it just kind of like builds up again. And I think that's probably my favorite part of the song. It's a really good song. It's kind of a consistent vibe the whole way through, but it kind of has that build up to it in the beginning. It's so great. It's kind of like one of those staple songs. It's kind of like the only one I think that has swearing in it by them. But which is a great song. So, but yeah, just kicking back to your number 5 of Salvation. I didn't have that. Like I mentioned, I didn't have it on my list, but I'm kind of curious. This is kind of one of their staple songs. I would think you at least have it on your short list, if not your top 5. But do you have it anywhere?
Yeah, that made it onto my liked list.
Okay, but not your top 5.
Now you asked it. Yeah, it is coming up.
Oh,
yeah.
Sweet. Yep. Okay, cool. Well, if it's not at number 4, go ahead and give me your number 4 then.
Okay, so my number 4 is "Open the Door." So there's a couple.
I had that at number 9.
Okay, cool. So there's a couple of their songs that I think have a little bit of a harsher, more rocky sound, and this is, I think, to me, the best one of them. So it has a harsher sound. Very much like a basic alternative rock sounding song with like electric guitar, like just like all the band elements you would expect. But
it definitely does sound like a rock song, more or less. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like that style. And once again, I think the chorus is what really elevates it. I mostly wanted to include it just because it's a rougher sounding song, and I think this is the best one of them. It's one that I've never looked that closely at the lyrics, but lines like, just like lines like "just let the rush in, it's only your life, it's all in your mind." I was like, oh, these sound cool, like when I was hearing it and stuff. But like I was looking at lyrics, This song is about taking drugs for the first time. So it starts
And
off.
doesn't everyone have to have that experience?
Right, yeah. So it starts off, just put this beneath your tongue, baby steps won't go wrong. And
That's funny.
I
I'd
never
actually,
heard it.
like,
Never fully
Yeah.
put it together.
Right, that is actually pretty funny. It's kind of one of those things where I'm not a lyric listener, and so that would have probably gone over my head and be like, "Oh, this is a great song." Well, we
Right.
don't encourage drug use on this show, but that is pretty funny.
Yeah, no, I thought that was funny because many times I've been like, oh man, this is good, and like all these lines, just let the rush in. I'm like, oh, this sounds really cool, but okay, sure, sure.
That's
Anyway,
what happens when you do meth or cocaine and it goes straight to your head.
right. But anyway, yeah, I think it's all
No,
I
it's
have
a good song. Like I said, I had it. Technically, I had it number 14. It made it to number 9 on my liked list, so basically number 14 overall. But no, it's a good song. I really like it. Like I said, I agree. It's definitely a harsher song. Well, kicking over to my number 4, I have at number 4 "Beautiful People" from the album Wild Blessed Freedom. But it is not the original version. I have the Sheer Lloyd version on my list.
Okay.
If you don't know what Sheer Lloyd is, she was she's like a pop singer, pop alternative rock type vibe from UK. And why I love this song so much is her voice. Sheer Lloyd, she has a couple albums out that are pretty famous. A lot more hit the pop scene. In like 2011, 2012 type area, right when this album was coming out. And why I love this song so much is the original song's good. I really do like it. And I think one of my favorite things about Carolina Liar is Chad Wolf's voice. I think he has one of the best voices out there. But I also love Sheer Lloyd's voice in a way that when they come together, it's so good. It's the song kind of builds up with it, and then right at about a minute 10, Chad Wolf comes in, and then Sheer Lloyd and him kind of go back and forth between words, and it's really great. The vocals are really good on it. And then on the chorus, right after they're kind of going back and forth a little bit, they join together, and it really kind of like sums up in my thoughts how good their voices are. Sheer Lloyd has a really good voice. She was pretty young when the song came out, probably like 18 or 19. And it's just so good. It's a really smoother, clean song. We love it a lot. And yeah, so the original song's great. I just love this version of it so much. I've been listening to the song probably soon after it came out, 2013, 14 up, so the last 8-9 years. I just really like it. So I think I actually might have mentioned to you this song with this version of it in the week we were hanging out this past week, Brendan. But did you get a chance to listen to it at all?
I hadn't actually looked this one up. I'll have to check this out then. Yeah, because it's a good song,
Really?
but
So
I
you
would
didn't-
have not
okay,
I would have
yeah.
not put it on like as a top song.
Listen to it with Sheer Lloyd's version. I think you'll change your mind. It's a really good version of it.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. What type of voice does she have?
Think of like a pop. I guarantee you've heard some of her other songs.
Right.
She came out. She like topped some of the U.S. charts.
Yeah,
back in
the name
2011.
sounds familiar, but I would have only probably known her
She
from
kind of
hits.
she kind of has like a pop voice. I don't
Okay.
want to say Miley Cyrus type thing, but like it's not. I don't know. It's not like that, but it's very much like a lower tone version of that. Maybe I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but yeah, give it a listen. It's a great song.
Okay, cool.
So cool. Well, let's jump over to your number 3 and go ahead and hit me with your number 3.
All right, so here we have All That Shit Is Gone.
Nice. Good song.
Yep, really good song. Starts off with good old piano accompanied by guitar, which I like. Slowly picks up. With again, a lot of their songs are doing that. And then you get into the drums and stuff in the chorus, and honestly, his voice, I think, in the chorus too, really like fills out the sound really well with how, I don't know, not enthusiastic, but how strong his voice comes across singing that.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, no, honestly, I think it's once again like the chorus for me is like these fairly simple choruses that he has on a lot of his songs that are just done really well with. Like that slow build up is kind of what I like. We've had that in previous artists and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely. Quite a few actually.
Yeah, no, but so it can kind of sound repetitive like these type of styles, but it's honestly what I think like he does so well with his music.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's a great song. And that's what I kind of put on there too. I do like the build up it has, and I think that's kind of what makes it such a great song.
Yeah. Yep. And lyrics wise, like, yeah, I think you said pretty much all I'd have to say on it. Like the lyrics are, nothing crazy, but just a really a really cool sounding song and a couple powerful lyrics again in the chorus. Is like the lyrics that are used in the chorus also really make it stand out.
Yeah. Nice. No, like I said, I had that, so I kind of talked about it. But yeah, do you have anything else more to say before we kick it to my number 3?
No, let's go over to yours.
So at my number 3, I have probably their greatest single dropped, and that is Wrestling an Angel, the single release.
Yes.
Great song. This song's great for the slower vibe, and I am very much not the person to like a slower vibing song. But and most of their songs do have higher energy, or that, like you just mentioned, build into something. This song is different for me, the fact that it's a slower vibe. But I don't really focus on the words for songs too much, but this one's one I definitely focused on. And the reason I say that, when I always listen to this song the last couple of years, I always thought the opening of the song goes, "A castle made of," I always thought it said sand, waiting for the tide to break. And in researching it, the words are, "A castle made of sin, waiting for the tide to break. I hold tight. It won't be long. I still have my faith." And I thought that was just kind of interesting. And it is really interesting because I don't think it's really talking about the Bible here, but what I think about every single time I hear the song Wrestling an Angel is when I was in Jordan, the country of Jordan. I was there 3.5 years ago, and we were doing a bus tour outside of Amman, about 2 hours south. And we were driving past this riverbank, and they're like, the tour guide was saying, like, this is where Jacob fought the angel,
right.
where they believed it as much. And every time I hear this song, I think of exactly where I was on that bus, looking out the window, looking by the river on this piece of land there beside the road. And I was like, every time I hear the song, I think of that. And so just kind of with the Wrestling an Angel vibe, and then a castle made of sin, waiting for the tide to break, I hold tight, it won't be long, I still have my faith. And it just kind of like, it's just a really good song. And it's just kind of a fun more song for me because it draws me back to that time period. But yeah, I just think it's an interesting one that I really do enjoy.
Yeah, no, I really like that one. It was on my short list. I don't know. It's a little bit of a different vibe with that song. Yeah, definitely a lot slower and almost I don't know. It's almost country, like low key country sounding.
I agree with that because it definitely has kind of that more like that more voice, when you
and I think I forget what instrument is going on the best. Something with one of the instruments in the background just kind of sounds. I don't know if it's like the way the electric guitar is going or something. It sounds a little more country swing or something like that. But really good song, and it always makes me think with those. Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't obviously look at one up very closely, but obviously playing off some of that story from the Bible, but I'm not quite sure in what way. It's really.
I don't
good
think it
one.
really is playing off the Bible, but anyways, great song. I'm kind of curious now so we made it through each of our top 3. I have 2 songs left that I feel like are their staple songs, and I say this every episode, but I really do feel like these last 2 songs are kind of their staple songs that I'm going to be very curious to see if you do have them on your list. So let's kick it over back to you, and go ahead and give me your number 2.
Okay, so this is actually, I did not expect all that shit is gone to be on your list. This song and my top song I would consider more likely for us to both have. For the record, top song I it has to be on your list, but anyway.
Yeah, for my record, at the beginning of this episode, before we jumped in the call, I did say we have 3 songs that would line up. So far we're 1, so I better hit these last 2. So let's hear your number 2.
Okay, my number 2 is "Beautiful World."
Oh no, never mind.
Yes,
I did not have that song.
We'll see. Do you have it on your list?
"Beautiful World's number 11. Yeah, it's at number 11.
Okay. Always thought the song was kind of like a cheerful song, with like the way the chorus goes and stuff, and like because of the title, "Beautiful World." And then I was looking at the lyrics closer, and so in between the lines, so there's a line, "Lose the sheets, there's no time for sleep," and then a little bit later it says, "It's a beautiful world." The line in between there, I never actually clearly heard the words. The words for the line in between there are, "I lie, I pretend till I'm almost certain." So it completely changes the meaning of the song with that. But I think you could interpret it a couple of different ways, and so I still choose to think of it more as a more positive song, being like, because you could very much take it as being a song that's about like being beaten down by everything that's going on in life and like lying your way through it and stuff. But I would choose to everyone has to deal with stuff, and choose to see it as You know, even though you feel like you're lying, pretending, like forcing it, like it is a beautiful world, and like you can see it, and you just have to work a little harder to get to that point. But yeah, no, I think I really like the positive sound of the song, and kind of, or yeah, what I interpret as the more positive sound of the song. I think it just flows really nicely.
Yeah, that is interesting, because what you just said of kind of like, that you're not like they're just kind of searching or something. I think that really ties into my next song, because at number 2 I have "Show Me What I'm Looking For."
Very good one. Very good one.
So if you don't have that at your number 1, which I think you might, I have the other song that you should have at your number 1.
Well, this is definitively their best song. So yes, it's my number 1.
Really? Okay, well this is definitely their number 2 song, because
Interesting.
yeah. Anyway, so "Show Me What I'm Looking For." I'm surprised when I reveal my number 1, you're gonna be like, that is the best song they have, because it is the best song. Anyway.
Well, I said there is one song that I don't have on my list that I think could be a song you really like.
Well, I'm guessing.
We'll see.
I'm guessing
We'll see.
it is. We'll see. We'll see. I love this format, because we don't know what's coming until we actually say it. But anyways, yeah. So kind of tying off a little bit what you're saying there. At number 2, I have "This Is What I'm Looking For" from the album "Coming to Terms," and this song is an interesting one for me. It kind of plays almost on the emotional side a little bit. I definitely don't normally hear the lyrics when I'm listening to songs, but in this one, I definitely listen to the lyrics more. The song is basically talking about being lost a little bit, kind of like searching for, "Show me what I'm looking for," the title of the song.
Yeah.
And it talking a little bit more about like focusing on the happy side, like, it's a beautiful world. And it's kind of looking for the person being lost and kind of looking for happiness, I guess. So a little bit kind of playing off that, which that's kind of interesting, kind of similar to what you're talking about there. But why I love this song, obviously, I am not a lyric listener. I love this song because it's just a great song the whole way through. And again, I will talk about it till I'm blue in the face. Chad Wolf's voice is fantastic. I think this song really shows his dynamic range and his vocal range in a great way. And yeah, his vocals in the song is really good. And it just, I think honestly, when you think of Carolina Liar, this is their staple song, because obviously I think you have this at number 1. So I'll kick kind of over to you and let you talk a little bit about it. But yeah, I think this is their staple song that I talked about. I don't have it at number 1 because I have a better song at number 1, but Brendan, go ahead and kick me to your number 1.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously my number 1 is also "Show Me What You're Looking For," or "Show Me What I'm Looking For."
Yeah.
But what I can't believe you didn't mention, and the whole reason I think this song is the number 1 song, is the use of bells. That is something you do not usually see in music.
That is very true. It is very true. It kind of goes over my head a little bit, but yeah, I hear what you're saying.
But just to follow off of what you're saying on the chorus or on the song itself, like with the meaning and how like it's made you think about it. Like I think what makes the song a very like good hit song is that it has a very like relatable message, like the "save me, I'm lost" line, like that it relates to anyone. It's not, it's not just like some like pop song that's all like, if we could just recapture tonight or whatever, or like let's do this for tonight.
If we could just have tonight, and if we could only have tonight. That's actually a John Mulaney stand-up comedy bit that I think is actually hilarious.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry.
But
continue.
yeah, so I find it like far more relatable than something like that. And the whole like theme of mistakes, regrets, confusion, all of that, like being stuff that the singer's talking about, and then he's like, I'm ready to pay any cost, just like show me, and then he's like, if the Lord or someone, like, just show me what I'm looking for. And like, that's something that I think, almost anyone can relate to that idea. But, beyond the lyrics, like the song itself is like so the bell sound I think is super unique. Yeah. I'm sure it's in some other songs, but like, I can't really think of any other song that uses bells like this and actually keeps using them throughout the song. And I think they make the chorus like way better too. And like usually you'd hear something like this like in a Christmas song, but that's about the only spot you'd see it. But I think those to me like make it so unique sounding. And I'm always looking for something like that in the music. Like I kind of have a general beat and like flow of a song that I like, but I think like unique music and unique voices and stuff really make a song better for me. But yeah, like the way the bells like at certain parts of the chorus like pitch up and down a couple different times, like just makes it very satisfying to listen to. And then you have like the background vocals filling in, which almost like a choir feel or something, and they have that one point in the song where all the music cuts out for like one line and everyone's just singing like without background, and I don't know, like it's a very good like first listen. Like if you haven't heard the song before, like just sit down and listen to it, and it's like not something you would expect to hear.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a good song. And talking about like kind of the Christian aspect of it, I think kind of, and just general songs and ever, whatever, people are kind of just like searching for something they cannot find,
Yeah.
And I don't know if that song is directly talking about that. It seems like kind of they have a couple of songs that hint at like a biblical version, like Wrestling an Angel.
Right. And he's from South Carolina, so like I'm sure it's very much like something that you would just picked up from that area anywhere.
Yeah, from being
East Coast, especially Southern, like you would get more of that influence.
Right. And it is a kind of interesting song, but yeah, it definitely is a good song, and it's the number one song on Apple Music. I don't know what it is on Spotify. I'm assuming it's on Spotify.
Yeah, I think it was like their defining hit song as far as like getting the most. And this is also the song that I heard first, and heard the single a couple times, and finally actually looked at the rest of his music.
Yeah. Well, no, like I said, I had it at number 2, you had number 1. So
now I'm very curious now what your number 1 is, because like I said, it's not on my list.
Let's do something different. Go ahead and guess what my number 1 song is. That would be more fun.
Okay, so I think the other one I thought was a pretty good song that was also fairly popular as far as charts go is "I'm Not Over."
Oh, okay. I had that at number 19.
Okay, so let's hear it then.
So you don't? Okay. Well, at number 1, I have "Done Stealing."
Oh, okay.
That's
that's 6. That's 6. Okay.
Okay, good.
Just
I was going to say, because I thought we talked about this song before, as in I think it's their best song.
It's not.
Anyways,
okay.
By far, this is my favorite song by Carolina Liar. It literally comes down to 2 things. Chad Wolf's voice in the beginning of the song. The first 25 seconds in the song, it's just a really good intro. And then right at about 25 seconds, the piano jumps in, the song continues to build into the lyrics. I can't get away and you will never leave me. And it's just really, really good. I love it so much. What I love about this opening, it's a whole vibe. It's so smooth, it's clean. It's not a head bopper, it's a gentle head nod. It's kind of
and that's what you like.
The way I put it. And that's what I like. I mean, most times if you give me a beer and a song, I'll just be sitting there and it's like, this is a really good song, and this is what this is for me. I think as a song gets to the chorus, it's probably my favorite chorus, not of any Carolina Liar song, which it is, but probably one of my top 10 choruses of all time. It's just a whole vibe the whole way through, and I love listening to it in a calm mindset because it gives me energy, but not like I'm gonna go kill something. I just want to do something great, and I kind of talked a little bit about that last week.
That's like the exact same thing you said last time.
Yeah, the
I just had a
exactly.
glitch in my head. I'm like, I've heard this.
It's like
before.
I know, but I think it's these songs that I enjoy so much that I put at my number 1s because it's like. If I can feel like that energy, and I don't like that new age term energy, but if you can feel like just like, oh, I'm gonna go do something, but I'm calm, and I think that's a really good way.
Controlled energy.
Okay, sure. Anyways, I literally comes down to Chad Wolf's voice and his vocals in the song, and also the chorus, and I think it's just a really fun song too. That's just really great. So I'm glad you got a number 6. I thought honestly this would be your number 1. I knew "Show Me What I'm Looking For" is gonna be your number 1 or 2. I did feel that was coming. So we only had 2 that lined up.
Just
all that shit
like I said, though, it wasn't what I expected it to be.
Yeah, it didn't. So cool. Well, let's now we have our top 5 out of the way. Let's transition a little bit into style. And actually, before we get into style, let's talk about their albums. We only have 2 to talk about. But it's 1 or 2, but which is your favorite album? I think you alluded to it earlier that Coming to Term is their first album is your favorite. But talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, once I get my years right, Coming to Terms definitely to me was like my preferred album, just because it tends to be a little like more basic rock alternative sounding, whereas the second album, I'm not sure what sound that would be, but it's a little more, it's a little lighter.
It's definitely a different sound.
Especially with some of their songs like, I don't know, Miss America or, I forget what the other one is. Anyway, like some of those songs, like it's just kind of a different feel to the whole album. It's just, I like that whole album. but there are less songs that I love on that album, and just that whole tone is not as much my style.
Yeah, for sure, and I kind of agree with that too. So they're my favorite albums. Coming to Terms. Second album is Wild, Blessed Freedom, and that's kind of reflected in my top 5 songs. 3 of them are from Coming to Terms. One is from a single, and the other one is from Wild, Blessed Freedom as a different song there with Sheer Lloyd. But yeah, no, it's definitely they're good albums. I think for them only having 2 albums, they're both great. I mean, they have a total of 33 songs, I think, in their entire library. And I would say 25 or so are good to great songs. And there are 8 songs that are fine, but I don't really like as much. And when you kind of have, I mean, that puts them in the 80 percentile for me. That's a good percent to be in. And I don't know where you're kind of at with them. I think Carolina Liar offers a very good, I mean, I would put their albums a little bit closer together. I think one's more popish, one's more alternative rock.
Yeah.
But they're pretty close.
Yeah, no, I really wish they had like one or maybe 2 more albums, like just to fill out, because I'd love to hear a little more variation on Coming to Terms.
It would be interesting, Brendan, because we discovered for sure with me and a little bit with you, and we talked a little about this, but I always love an artist's first album because I think it's true to them. I think in almost every artist we've done so far, except for Snow Patrol.
Yep.
Except for Snow Patrol, I've always loved their first album the most because it's really true to they are, and these albums are pretty similar. So with you alluding and talking to earlier about them maybe coming out with some more music, it would be interesting to see if I really hate it, because usually when you go this long, I mean, it's been 11 years since their last album and 14 years since their first album. Like, is it going to be anything relatively close to what they do?
I think with his style, he's like, they're more likely to have an alternative sound still. Like, I think like the Lumineers, like a couple of those, the Head and the Heart I'm thinking of, like they kind of transitioned over time, especially when you have some more of that like folk sounding music and stuff like that. They more left and went just more alternative, more mainstream sounding, whereas since this Carolina Liar has like alternative rock sound, like I think there's a good chance, because rock is still very common, that the like rock alternative sound would stay, but I don't know.
Right. It will be interesting. Yeah, for sure. And I kind of agree with that too. I like a rock alternative band, and this is definitely that for me. Yeah, no, that's great. So we've kind of covered that. Well, let's kind of kick it over to, let's go ahead and have you read down, and then I will read down your next top 10 after your top 5, so basically number 5 through 15, and then after that we'll kind of end a little bit on our takeaways, and we'll sign off for this episode and talk about our next episode. So yeah, let's go ahead and kick it through your 5 through 15.
Yep. So number 6, Done Stealing, which we talked about a little bit.
Yep.
Then Drown, King of Broken Hearts, I'm Not Over, I Don't Think So, Miss America, Simple Life, Wrestling an Angel, No More Secrets, and Coming to Terms.
Okay, so that's interesting. We do have some over there, but I'm surprised. My number 6.
My longer list does have a lot more mix of the Wild, Blessed Freedom. It's just like, my top ones were very much Coming to Terms.
So out of my top 5, there's 2 that I almost put on my top 5 that replaced number 5 for me was California Bound. I really like that one. That was my number 6. Number 7, I had Coming to Terms. I think it's a great song. Number 8, Something to Die For, really good one.
Mm-hmm.
And number 9, this one is a pretty good one, When You Are Near. I really do like that one.
Yep.
Number 10, Hit Bottom. Number 11, Beautiful World. I know you had in your top 10. Number 12, Miss America. 13, Undone. 14, Open the Door. And at number 15, No More Secrets.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely some crossover there. It is interesting. I thought we would align a little bit more in our top 5. Your 4 and 5 really surprised me a lot more than I thought they were going to. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is interesting how much diversity in our style or preferences for how few songs there are.
Yeah, for sure. And I thought that's why I would line a little bit more. Only 33 songs. We have a pretty high chance of lining up, and only 2 did.
We need like 5 songs to be able to get to get close.
Yeah, literally. I think we've had I think one artist we did have 3 songs in our top 5.
Yeah.
I think we might have had that. Cool. Well, let's kind of finish this episode talking a little bit, kind of your takeaway, your general take on, kind of summed up. If you could sum up. I think we did this on a couple other artists where we kind of took in everything we talked about, kind of summed it up in a couple words. I know what I have. So if you need a little bit to think about it, Brendan, I can go first. But if you want to give me kind of your general consensus takeaway from them, and then we'll talk about our next artist.
Yeah, like they're kind of, I don't have anything specific to say on them, but like they've been an artist that's kind of separated from some of the rest of my music. Like again, with how little music they have, like I often will just go back and listen to like that first album or something like that, or like pick and choose a few songs here and there.
Yeah, I think if you'd kind of sum up, and I agree with that too. They definitely are in a different realm for me a little bit. Like they're definitely not like, oh, they're alternative artists. No, they're alternative rock that gets played different at different times. But if I'd really sum up, which I agree with your takeaway, I'd say kind of some of that where they're definitely a little bit of a different artist for me. What I love about this band so much, and I've said it about it so far, a lot of these bands is, Chad Wolf's vocals. I definitely hands down think his voice is fantastic, and it kind of makes Carolina Lighter, which honestly most alternative music comes down to the lead singer themselves and what they sing.
Yeah, for sure.
But
we
honestly,
we
I
almost
just love
didn't talk about that enough. About like how good his
yeah.
voice is, but yeah.
Well, we talked a little bit about with Of Monsters and Men, and you know they're like a mix between of Mumford & Sons and the Lumineers with an Icelandic vibe, and this is like a very much a great alternative voice sounding person mixed with some great Swedish vocal backgrounds, and I think it's great. I love their instruments as usual, and this is why I love alternative music so much. I'm so passionate about it. It's just the different voices you get and the great vibes. But yeah, out of their, like I mentioned earlier, out of 33 songs, I would say 25 or so are good to great songs, and so yeah, I really enjoyed this band. And I don't have to be necessarily in the right mood to listen to them, but they're a great listen. So if you haven't listened to them yet, I definitely recommend you guys get out there and listen to them. So I think that kind of sums up our thoughts with of Carolina Liar. So if we are ready to talk about our next artist, which we'll be releasing next fortnight. You ready to talk about it, Brendan?
Yeah. So we're going to be doing Andrew McCone.
Yes. So our next artist is Andrew McCone, The Wilderness. Joining us in 2 weeks as we talk about them.